All right, guys. Well, guess you heard the good news and the bad news. We said goodbye to the E63S and traded her in for a 2019 G550. I was on the wait list for a G63, and that was originally what I was going to be getting and trading the E63 for. But they kept pushing back the delivery date again and again and again. Finally, I was like, you know what? This is getting ridiculous. I wasn't planning on driving the E63 through the entire winter with those summer tires. I'm just going to get a G550. And the reality is, I really don't need 603 horsepower in an SUV. I already drove like enough of a-hole in the E63. I really don't need to drive like that in a car this top heavy. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go for the 550. So I found one down in New Jersey, red, with the AMG package and the night package. The two colors I was looking at were either red or emerald green. And so I found this one. It was one of only 95 in the United States on Auto Trader, and of those 95, a lot of them were already in contract pending. So there's really like about 2 of these per state right now. So this is first impressions. You know, first impressions are so important. And as soon as I sat down in this thing and heard the door close, no self-closing door, the way the Range Rover and the E63 had. You got to give this door a little muscle to close it, but it feels good. So I'm in New York City right now. I picked up the car in New Jersey, and that's interesting. It put me back into park when I opened the door. So I picked up the car in Jersey, traded in the old one, got a pretty good trade-in, and I have this now with a warranty up to 100,000 miles. So they did right with the early trade-in and worked with me a little bit on the warranty. So I'm happy with that. And you know what? Coming from an E63 into this, everything is basically the same. I mean, you know, in terms of first impressions, the dash is the same. It's a little different, a couple little, you know, the pictures are of a G-Class, but it's pretty much the same. The steering wheel, this one's a heated steering wheel, which is nice. I would probably have liked a wooden steering wheel like the Range Rover has, but I'm okay with this. The wooden one in the Range Rover is also heated, but because it's wooden, it takes a long time for the wood to actually heat up. So this is actually heats up a lot faster. Heated seats, which I'll put on. Because it's the AMG package, it has a sports exhaust. I didn't drive the base model, so I couldn't really say how different it sounds, but you don't have a button where you can control it separately the way you could on the E63. It's definitely not as loud. You know, it's still a V8 engine. I guess if I wanted to put an aftermarket exhaust on, I could. Massachusetts Department of Transportation is pretty strict about what you can put on aftermarket, but I don't know if I will or not. This one's got the sunroof. Big thing, it doesn't have no sunglasses holder. I mean, that to me is very annoying, but whatever. No sunglasses holder. But overall, the first impressions are good. I mean, compared to the Range Rover, it does not have the air suspension. So the Range Rover, when you come to a stop and you put it in park, it drops down. When you come back up to speed, it comes back up, and it absorbs the bumps like you're just on air. But I needed a second big car, and you know, 4-door, dogs in the back, everything else. The E63 wasn't cutting it, and I didn't want to get a second Range Rover. Having 2 of the same car felt sort of boring. So I was like, well, what else fits the bill and is also fun? And it was either the G-Class, Bentley Bentayga, which to me looks like an Audi Q7, and I'm not going to pay $200,000 for an Audi Q7. I know they're really nice on the inside, and they're fast as heck with a V12, or is it W12, but 12-cylinder. But I don't really like the way they look on the outside. The prototype of the Bentley Bentayga was awesome. It looked boxy and big, and then when they released it, it just to me looked like an Audi Q7. So that one was off the list. Obviously, Toyota Land Cruiser or something like that was certainly an option, but didn't really want to go for a Toyota, so I figured I'd try one of these. And 2019 with this big update, I mean, it handles well. Yes, I feel the bumps a little bit. I'm in stop and go traffic. I don't think I've gone more than like 500 feet since we started, but whatever. The bumps, when we hit them, it's a little bumpier, it's a little bouncier, maybe a little more like a Jeep. Anyone that says this is, Ross, I like your new red Jeep, well, I mean, I see it. I mean, I get it. They look pretty similar, but we'll see how it does compared to a Jeep. I've had Jeeps before. I've had 2 Jeeps, and both of them I had some problems with. So I really hope this has better longevity than the Jeep. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't see the launch mode on it. I'm gonna have to test that out a little later. But I do see the differential locking just the front, locking the rear, or locking all 4, which is pretty sweet. I'll probably not use it, but my driveway gets a little slippery, and if I have this car for a while, who knows? Here's the funny story. In high school, my dream car in high school was a 1985, and I remember looking at it on eBay. 1985 Mercedes 300D, this same body style in a 4-speed manual transmission turbo diesel engine. That was my dream car. It had the rear barn doors. They opened like this instead of the way this one swings open. And so it's pretty cool to hear those locks click. Sounds like a gun. How do I unlock? Look out! I've got the locks. So this was actually my dream car. I wasn't, I was wanting to get the old one with the manual transmission, the diesel engine, because those engines last forever. And I even still now troll eBay and Hemmings and classic cars looking for that 300 diesel with a manual transmission in red. But I haven't seen one since. There's a company in New Jersey that does the 300D 2-door with like a canvas top that you can pull back, but that's more of a, it's a 2-door car. And the reality is, at this point in my life, I don't really want to drive a car that I'm worried is going to break down on me. I don't really want to drive a car that doesn't have anti-lock brakes, that doesn't have an airbag. I mean, I don't mind driving, a Sunday driver, a 1970 Cadillac DeVille. Sure, that's a fun Sunday driver. I'll take the risk one day a week. But as my daily driver, I mean, I'm sure we've all had a couple of close calls, behind the wheel, and, I've had my fair share, and it just can happen so fast. Life is short, so safety is important, and that's one of the things that, is one of the reasons I drive big cars, because the reality is, when you got this in a head-on with, a Toyota Civic, I mean, do the math. So I always sort of prefer to be in a bigger car that's a little higher up, feels a little safer, and this thing feels like a tank. I mean, it feels solid. I hope it holds up. I really do. I hope that I love it. The Range Rover I've had for 3 years. It is a turbo diesel, got 30 miles per gallon in it. I won't see that in this. But, the Range Rover has been an awesome car. 3 years in, and I still love it. I mean, I love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. It handles great. It's super comfortable. For me, it's perfect. So I could only hope that, 3 years from now, I'll still be driving this car and be saying, this was a great car. I love it, and I want to drive it for another 3 years, and, someday hand it down to my kids. There's a Rolls-Royce Ghost. I don't like them with that 2-color paint job where they do black and then silver hood. I think that looks kind of tacky. But anyways, so yeah, I wanted to give you guys first impressions. This is the first day, really getting behind the wheel of this thing. I picked it up the other day, but it's been parked in the garage for the last 2 days. So I've got my plates on it, and I am free to drive. I'm gonna take this back up to Massachusetts, and hopefully I get there in one piece, no one scratches the side, none of these guys on bikes or anything else. And when I get up there, I will give you guys a little tour around the outside and give you guys a little exhaust clip. We're not going to do a 0 to 60 in this. I don't think it's going to have any numbers that are all that impressive, but I'll give you follow-ups on this car as I get more miles on it, and let you know if I still love it as much as I do here on day one. All right, guys, so day one driving with Ross in the G550. Coming back soon with an update. All right, see you guys soon. Bye. Damn it! I've only had this car for 100 miles, and I've already gotten pulled over. Oh, man. Well, what can you do? She's bright red. She looks great. Well, I just got my first speeding ticket. That didn't take long. I haven't even made it home yet. And you know what? I was barely speeding. Let me explain how it went down. First of all, I'm still in the break-in period, so I did not want to go fast in this car. I didn't go fast. The whole way up, I was going nice and slow. I was going in the slow lane. That's very rare for me, but I was going in the slow lane. And then I got to the top of this hill, and I decided to go in eco mode because, well, you can see right now, I'm averaging about 15 miles per gallon. And I figured, you know what, let's see, eco mode, maybe I can get this thing a little more efficient. And I noticed that it seems like going downhill, it drops it into neutral and lets you coast. I'm not sure if that's what it does, but it felt like I was coasting. And I was like, you know what, this is better for the environment. Well, I should have thought twice. Forget the environment, I now have a speeding ticket. Coasting, going downhill, well, got a little, I guess, 15 miles above the speed limit. What can you do? I don't know. I didn't even make it home. Didn't even make it home. In 6 months of driving the E63 like a maniac, I didn't get pulled over once. And with this car, well, it took about 2.5 hours. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come, but the first impressions have remained true. The car is so comfortable, so amazing, and I'm in love. So this love story will be continuing. It's not going to end in 6 months the way the E63 story ended. All right, so I'm going to keep heading home. When I get home, I'm going to show you guys the exterior of the car and give you a little exhaust clip. You can see here, attention to detail right here. This isn't the interior I would have chosen with the red leather inserts, but this is the only red one available in the entire United States right now, so beggars can't be choosers. It's fine. I like at least that it's black all around here, the black ceiling liner, the sunroof, this slides open and closed. Nice back seat. I mean, it's a little awkward getting in and out of the back seat. You can see there. But you know what? I probably won't have to sit here very often, maybe even never. So, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's totally comfortable. Totally enough room sitting here, and you can see out well enough. So yeah, that's pretty good. Room for stuff. And then the back has room here. It's interesting, this has more trunk space than the Range Rover because of the fact that you can fit things straight up, right? So it's not just this space here, you can get all the way to the ceiling, whereas in the Range Rover, this, slants here, so you lose all of that space. So you can fit tall suitcases, 1, 2, 3 big ones right there. So you can see on the G550, the two exhaust pipes here, they still come right down, sort of, they don't go all the way to the back of the car. There's two on either side. I believe it's for when the car is running in 4-cylinder, kind of eco mode, and when it's running as a full 8-cylinder engine. So one is a little smaller and the other's a little bigger. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's possible this is something related to the sports exhaust, but anyways, I'll let you hear the sound of it. Pretty quiet, little noise though. What's up, everyone? All right, so today is the 1-week anniversary of buying the new G550. I absolutely love it. Certainly every bit as much as I did on the first day when I drove it home from the city. The speeding ticket, you know, that's a little disappointing, but that's going to happen with a bright red car. So, you know, today's the first snow day, getting it out a little bit, seeing how it feels. It feels so solid. There's already a couple of things that I don't love about the car, but they're not deal breakers. I'll talk about the 3 things that are kind of, you know, already my little pet peeves in an upcoming video. But for right now, I'll just say that it's been awesome. I love it. And I'm getting lots of thumbs up from fellow Mercedes drivers. I didn't know this, but if you also drive a G-Class, they wave at you. So making some new friends with fellow G-Class owners, which is pretty cool. All right, so stay tuned for more videos. I'll hopefully have this car for a long time, so we'll have lots of videos on what it's like to own it past just 5,000 or 10,000 miles, but really to own it for quite a period of time. I hope it stands up. I hope it's really solid. I think it will be. It feels that way. So, all right, I hope you guys have an awesome holiday. The market's closed tomorrow, but I'll be back at it first thing on Wednesday morning. Merry Christmas, everyone. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.